Nation Sports Show. Tonight on the Nation Sports Show, we bring to you the latest breaking news from the National Football League. As reported last week, Matthew Stafford was seeking a contract extension with the Los Angeles Rams. He was also receiving other offers from other teams. Tonight, we bring to you Matthew Stafford's final decision. Next week, on March the 12th, the next league season begins. Free agents will be able to sign with any team of their choosing. Tonight, we also bring to you our analysis on what will go down as the most shocking heel turn in the history of professional wrestling. The world is still talking about John Cena joining forces with the final boss, The Rock. It's showtime.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
It's 7 o'clock, and you know what time that is on the East Coast and everywhere else worldwide live. It is our time for another edition of our Nation Sports Show live here on YouTube. What is going on here in the 11th hour? I have been named your host for this evening. I am Stephen Wyand. I am excited to be here today along with my co-host for this evening. But before we get to my co-host for this evening, we had to plug the social media platforms. Up first on Twitter, or it is known as now as X. Twitter or X at ON_sports show. We are also at Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show. And you can also find us where we are live right now on YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff to your family and your friends that love the world of sports just as much as we do. And not only are we talking about the world of sports when it comes to the NFL and the NBA, we're also going to talk about a little wrestling. RASSLIN, that spells wrestling. Talking wrestling. Why? Oh, if you're living under a rock, literally and figuratively, there was a heel turn by John Cena. Yes, the John Cena. At Elimination Chamber in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. But before we get to that, we are first and foremost, we are a sports show, and that's what we're here to talk about. And joining me right here, right now, live and in color, he is a Washington Commanders fan. He's also very happy about the trade that took place over the weekend. He's also an Atlanta Braves fan. He's an all-around good dude. He is my brother from another mother, JT, Joey Thornton. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hate that I couldn't be on the show last week because of some personal stuff going on, but I'm here, I'm back, ready to talk some sports with y'all. And may I say, dear Stephen, it is quite fitting that you bring up John Cena because I'm wearing John Cena's shirt. Ha ha ha.
Everything counts, as the saying goes. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I mean, where do we even begin in the world of the NFL? Because there's a lot that went down. And yes, I teased it in the intro. Matthew Stafford requested an offer to the Rams to pay him, 50 million a year. And He got kind of what he wanted. He got an extension with the team. Also, there was other offers that were going around, including Tom Brady and the Raiders trying to lure him in there to Vegas. And there was reports saying that Brady was tampering. No, no, he was not. Randy. I know you're watching this, Randy. I don't care if it's live or on demand. He was not tampering with evidence. I'm sorry. That's the facts. That's the fact of life. Deal with it. But anyways,
Wait. So if he was tampering, let's see, we've had Spygate, we've had Deflategate. What would this be? Recruitgate?
Recruit gate. I love it. I love it. It is interesting how the article right here, the first article says right here on NFL.com, it says Rams sweeten Matthew Stafford's contract, but the details are remain elusive. So we really don't know. We really don't know the contract details of this right now. We just know that he got it.
You said for Matthew Stafford?
Yes.
Let's see.
Let me see, Rand. Yeah, because every everything that I'm reading in the headlines, there is nothing that says, "Wow." Here's another article from 21 hours ago. The headline says that Matthew Stafford rejected a lucrative offer by the Giants to stay with the Rams.
Yeah, well, the Giants, they suck.
They do.
Oh, but speaking of the Giants, they are, believe it or not, currently the betting favorites to land a particular quarterback.
Oh, Karen Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
It's Aaron Rodgers.
My bad, dog. My bad. Aaron Rodgers.
But yes,
Scam.
Aaron freaking Rodgers.
Why?
I
Why
mean,
would he want to go to the Giants when their offensive line is trash? The Jets' offensive line was trash last year. What makes you think he's going to go to the other New York team and turn him into a Super Bowl contending team? They don't even have a roster, really. The roster is bad. And don't let the media fool you. Oh, Aaron Rodgers MVP, multi MVP, won a Super Bowl title with the Packers back in 2010, 2011. He can say
no,
destroy his team. He can't say crap.
no.
Give me a freaking break. Give me a break. I mean, it is ridiculous how the media loves to paint him as this savior when all he has done in the last, especially couple of years with Green Bay and then with the Jets was fail. And the reason why he failed last year with the Jets is because of that terrible, pity offensive line. And not to mention, but their defense was also bad as well. So I'm sorry, but he does not fit the Giants organization to go to that team. What are your thoughts on this, Joey?
Uh, yeah, there's not really anything I can say about that. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, I get it. You can't deny what he has done in his NFL career. But no matter how many times these players, these athletes try to fight against Father Time, no matter how hard they try, they never win.
No.
They never win. And Aaron Rodgers just needs to realize that as of right now, and see and think when he was with the Jets last year, when he played the full year,
Mm-hmm.
he had Garrett Wilson for the whole year.
Yup.
He had Alan Lazard, one of his buddies from the Packers, the whole year. And he had his true best friend from the Packers, Devontae Adams, for half the year.
And they still
And
couldn't do nothing.
they still couldn't do nothing. Aaron Rodgers put up some good stats, but the rest of the team couldn't do anything.
That will go down as one of the worst trades in NFL history. Because
Oh
if you
yeah.
really think about it, Green Bay in the long run won this trade.
Oh, big time.
Because it's very fitting that Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers in the last couple of years, unlike Rodgers, or Karen Rodgers, or Karen Rodgers, or whatever you want to call this guy, uh, he has had a grip on the organization of the Jets while he was there. And all the hype that was around him, and he didn't do nothing. But Green Bay in the last couple of years have made the playoffs. And they were a play or two away from beating San Francisco 2 years ago in the divisional round after they stunned the Cowboys. And then last year, yeah, they lost to Philadelphia, in the playoffs in the wild card round. But unlike the Jets, the Packers have actually done something. And Aaron Rodgers, I don't care if he goes to the Giants. He's not going to do nothing good with this team because they have a lot of holes on that team. Their defense is not where it needs to be. The receivers are not where they need to be. The running game isn't great. Don't let the name Aaron Rodgers fool you, folks. Don't let him get you caught up in his vindictive ways. Because when he has a stranglehold on a franchise, he has complete control in his own mind. And like we have talked about on this show countless times, ladies and gentlemen, you don't just need a quarterback. You need an offensive line to protect you. Just ask the Kansas City Chiefs in the 2 Super Bowls that they have lost with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback. What has happened in those games? Not only had they gotten their asses blown out in both games, but their offensive line was wrecked by the defensive front, by Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. And to
Yep.
think, go ahead.
And like one thing we have said, a quarterback is only as good as the offensive line around him
Mm-hmm.
because it is hard to put up good stats. It is hard for a quarterback to put up good stats when he's lying on his back.
Exactly. Now, me being a football fan, me being kind of a little, sarcastic in a way with this, I wish that Rodgers would go to Minnesota to complete the cycle that Brett Favre did. Because Brett Favre went to the Jets after he left Green Bay, and then he went to the Vikings for the last 2 years. I really hope at some point he ends up with the Vikings because it will complete the cycle. It will complete the cycle that Favre did. And it's also fitting that Favre's last throw with Green Bay was an interception, and Aaron Rodgers' last throw with the Packers against the Lions was an interception.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers, I'm not doubting his talent. Again, even at 40 years old, he is still putting up some numbers. But he's not putting up the freakish athlete numbers that he once did in his prime, let alone 4-5 years ago. He's not putting up the MVP numbers that he did when he was in Green Bay. Because a prime Aaron Rodgers, in his prime Aaron Rodgers, can take, not notable receivers and make them good. But this is the problem with a soon to be 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers by December, and a 30-year-old Aaron Rodgers or a 29-year-old or 28-year-old or vice versa. Aaron Rodgers now is several years older now. And by that age, in reality, it's not that old. But in sports terminology, it is old because he doesn't have the same consistent arc on the ball when he throws these intermediate deep passes or these medium passes down the field because he pulled all of the strings of that Jets organization. He had Robert Saleh fired from the Jets. He had his buddy in Green Bay. He thought, yeah, I'm going to bring my buddy from Green Bay with me. We're going to take over the AFC conference. Nope. They didn't do that at all. And when you look
Oh,
at, go ahead.
oh, you know what? I just now thought about this. There was a fourth wide receiver that Aaron Rodgers had this year. Mike Williams, the former Charger.
And then he threw him under the bus. Good call.
Yes, he did.
He threw him under the bus when he claimed that, we didn't run the right route. Dude, you just underthrew the ball. Take
Yeah,
responsibility.
exactly.
Because if Patrick Mahomes can take ownership for the beatings that him and Kansas City took in these two Super Bowl losses, then you can take ownership in losses that you've been responsible for. Whether it be those pick sixes against the Vikings that led to Salah's firing. And all the beatings that the Jets took this year. And also the blown leads that the Jets have had this year. When they've had chances to win games. And all of this stuff. That's the problem with Aaron Rodgers. He does not take ownership of his wins or his losses. Excuse me. I'll take that back. He takes ownership for his wins, not for his losses.
Oh, sure.
You can't be
Please.
inconsistent, Aaron. You got to be consistent with, being in front of the media. Because think about it. All of the great quarterbacks that have came before, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, you name it. They have taken ownership in their losses. And this is going to be a huge focal point in the 2025 offseason in the National Football League. What is the status of Aaron Rodgers, team status going to be? Where is he going to be? What team is he going to be going to next? Because whatever team he ends up on, hell, he can end up on the Carolina Panthers for God's sakes, and they'll crown their asses. He will end up on any team, and the media, the national media on ESPN and Fox and NBC and SiriusXM alike that love to parade this guy, kiss his ass, all of this crap. They will sit there and say to their blue in the face, Aaron's still one of the best quarterbacks to play. Yeah, back then he was. Now he ain't hardly nothing. Now he still makes the occasional throw that's pretty good, but not really anymore. I mean, this is the most interceptions he's thrown with any organization in his career in quite some time. No torn meniscus this past year, folks. This was a regressed Aaron Rodgers. Here's a guy that was introduced to the undefeated streak of Father friggin' Time. Father Time is undefeated. Father Time has taken out some of the greatest players in all sports. Derek Jeter, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Joe Montana.
The list goes on and
the
on
list
and on.
goes on and on and on to the break of dawn. Come on. Quit parading this guy. Quit celebrating this guy because, let's be honest, Joey, if it wasn't for that one Super Bowl with Green Bay in 2010, when they beat the Steelers in that great game, if he did not win that Super Bowl, his career would be right there with Dan Marino as one of the greatest quarterbacks of his era to not win a Super Bowl.
Yep, you ain't lying there.
Because
going back to what you said about Aaron Rodgers taking credit for his losses, please. Asking Aaron Rodgers to take credit for his losses is like telling a pig not to roll in the mud.
Exactly.
It ain't gonna happen.
Exactly.
ain't gonna happen.
Telling Aaron Rodgers to take credibility for his losses is like telling a bad person to not do bad things.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is not even half the man that he used to be. It is absolutely hilarious because when when uh when the news came down on Sunday that there's these reports going around that Rodgers could end up with the Giants, I laughed my ass off. I'm like, ha, please. Him
I'd
go to the
rather see
Giants?
I'd rather
Come on.
see Daniel Jones back in a Giants uniform.
Oh, I'm telling you, the ghost of Daniel Jones will haunt Aaron Rodgers if he goes to the Giants. Shit, you thought the offensive line of the Jets was bad? I mean, it is, but the Giants is even worse. Daniel Jones ended up on his back more in the last couple of years combined than he did in the year when they went to the playoffs. That's when they had an offensive line. Oh, what a concept. An offensive line. The people that actually keep you up front, that keep you stabilized. You can't just have a great quarterback, snap your fingers, and expect greatness to happen. That's not the way this works. If you think, seriously, if anybody out there with a brain that is functioning right now that thinks that Mr. Rogers is going to lead this Giants team to the promised land, if you think that he's going to do that, oh, cry me a river. Seriously. Seriously. Because if I have to go back and clip this on a future show in an intro, if he goes to the Giants and this team sucks, don't worry, I'll wait. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Hey. At this point, it would be more realistic to see Carson Wentz lead the Chiefs to a Super Bowl.
Oh, dear God. How dare you put those words in your mouth? Carson Wentz?
Come on. You know I gotta have my 3 minutes of fame.
Wait. Did you just say 3 minutes?
I said 3 minutes.
Sorry, Ricochet. Stupid sound bite, but who cares? But yeah, moving away from this fraud into even better news regarding back to Matthew Stafford real quick. For his sake, he made the right move because Cooper Kupp is still there, Puka Nacua is still there, Higbee's still there for the time being. This Rams team has a pretty good head on their shoulders, unlike the Giants. Stafford was a throw away from beating Philadelphia and hosting the NFC Championship game. Let's not forget that. If he does not get sacked by Carter, the probability of him completing that throw is very high because he had a receiver wide open in the end zone. Stafford made the right move to stay with LA because the Raiders, they don't have a great ceiling. Neither does the Giants. Why do you think he turned them down? It's a trap, Aaron Rodgers. Don't go near it. Because if you do go to the Giants, you will be infected with the sickness. Dropping plates on ya. Get off. Anyways, for those that get my Disturbed references, I thank you very much. I feel stupefied right now. What am I talking about? I hear voices in my head just like Randy does. This is the game I'm playing. Anyways.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways. I think that Matthew Stafford made the right call to stay with the Rams because The other organizations that were, throwing offers out there for him, I mean, I'm pretty sure the money was probably good. We really don't know the numbers that they were throwing at him. But I just think that for his career's sake, the success that he has had with the Rams predominantly, except for that horrible year after the Rams won the Super Bowl against Cincinnati, the following year they had the worst record for a Super Bowl winning team to miss the playoffs than the following
Yeah.
season. So again, the fact that you have young blood and Puka Nacua there, and you have a veteran in Cooper Cup and Hidbig's still there, and everybody that's still there. There's still some young players in there, that believe in this team and their defense. And Kevin hit the nail on the head a couple of times during the show during our coverage of the season last year. That Rams defense, they were pretty good. They weren't obviously Aaron Donald, being retired. I just think that he made the right call. That there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Because if he would have gone to the Giants or if he would have gone to the Raiders, it would have been career suicide.
Oh, definitely career suicide.
Now, moving on to one of the big, big, big moves that have been made in this early portion of the league offseason, which hasn't began officially yet until next Wednesday, March the 12th. And that is, and I know Joey is very happy about this, Deebo Samuel is now a Commander. That's right. The San Francisco 49ers have traded away the multi-talented wide receiver to Washington. And when this news came down, at first I forgot to mention this to you because we were talking about the shock and awe of the Cena heel turn on Saturday night, and then eventually we got around to it. But I know when that trade went down and you read the reports on all the sports outlets and stuff, you were very happy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because at last we finally have a decent receiver that can pair up with Terry McLaurin, thus giving Jaden Daniels not one, but two legitimate receiver threats now. And I mean, I know that we're going to be absorbing the rest of his contract that he signed with the Niners a few years back, but given the offensive mastermind that Cliff Kingsbury is, he's going to incorporate some plays that's really going to benefit Debo.
And
You
what's
know,
also great with
you know
Debo,
he is.
he's a multi-talented threat, not just running or receiving the ball, but running the ball.
Oh yeah. Now
There's
people
going to be
can
some
say,
offensive schemes that'll have him rushing in the backfield.
yeah. Now people can say, oh well, Debo's washed up. He hasn't done anything since his All-Pro year back in 21. Well, yeah, they're not wrong as far as the stats are concerned. But Debo's only 29 years old. He still has several good years left in him.
Because if he turns around and has a great year with the Commanders, we're not going to be calling him washed up.
No, absolutely not.
I think it's a great move by Washington because they needed to add a key weapon on offense to this team to bolster their offense. After the year that the Commanders had last year, who would have thought that a rookie quarterback in his first year as a professional starting quarterback in the National Football League would take his team one game away from the Super Bowl? Jaden Daniels and company had nothing to be ashamed of. It was a great season. I know after that game when Philadelphia beat him out the stadium, you said to me, and I know a lot of Washington fans have said the same thing. Nothing to be ashamed about because it's only up and up from here. And now that you have a legitimate number two, and this is the scary part, sometimes Debo and Scary Terry can go back and forth between number one, number two. Depends on who has the hot hand here in the game. So now that Washington has a legitimate receiver, a legitimate outside combination of wide receivers who can run vertically down the field and who can also run tough routes over the middle of the field, who can get between the trenches, who can get between, the warfare out there on the field and snag these difficult passes. And also, yakety yak, don't talk back, yards after the catch. Because Scary Terry's good at that, and so is Debo Samuel.
Yeah, he is. They both are.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is only the beginning of what Adam Peters is doing right now. I know this is only the beginning. And I'm looking forward to seeing what all he will do in this offseason.
Me as a football fan, I'm looking forward to it as well because I love to see organizations succeed. Because a fan base like Washington, who has been in such a struggling cycle for over 20 plus years, finally last year has something to be hopeful for. That they can find the light at the end of the tunnel as an organization. That they have their future quarterback in Jaden Daniels, an MVP caliber candidate who rightly so won the Rookie of the Year last year. It will
Yeah.
be very fascinating to see what happens this upcoming season once we get rolling. But that's a way away. It's a ways away. But that's why we have the offseason, to have these debates and have these thought-provoking shows on these teams. And also, speaking of the NFC, Saquon Barkley is not only a Super Bowl champion this past season, he also has even more money flowing his way as the Philadelphia Eagles have signed one of the all-time greatest running backs to play his position to a 2-year deal, and rightly so, resetting the running back market. $42.1 million, if I had that correct.
41.2 million.
41.2. I had two of the numbers backwards. It's okay. $41.2 million. 36 million of that money is guaranteed. Unreal. Unreal what Saquon Barkley has done with this Philadelphia team in 1 year. He made that offense already explosive with Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. He already made that offense even more dangerous. Because not only can Barkley run in between the tackles, can run on the outside, he can also be a deadly threat in the receiving game. So congratulations to the newly paid Saquon Barkley, because I think he deserves it. And if you're a Giants fan, you're sick to your stomach.
Yeah.
You let
Because
this
again,
guy go.
you had your opportunity, but no, you decided to invest it in a quarterback who's not even on your team anymore.
That did not pay out so well, literally and figuratively. Now, as far as circling back to Aaron Rodgers is concerned, we don't want to see him on the Giants. Where do you think he needs to go to be the next starting quarterback?
That is actually pretty interesting. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, wait. I know the perfect team he can go to. It's called his couch. He needs to retire. Plain and simple. He doesn't have it anymore. He just needs to go ahead, hang it up, and retire.
Yeah. Um, when you look at these organizations on who needs what, pretty much everybody has a quarterback. But when it comes to, Rodgers is going to want to keep playing. He is. That ego can't go away. He wants to keep playing. I really think he needs to go to the Vikings. It would just be hilarious. But it will be interesting to see what happens because the next league season begins next week. Now, before we get back to the NFL, I do want to switch gears real quick to the NBA, and that is what can go wrong, does go wrong with the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving thought he had an ankle injury. Turns out, for the worst case of all, a torn ACL. He is out for the rest of the year, and the Dallas Mavericks are sputtering into oblivion right now. You traded away Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. He hasn't played since then, really. And now Kyrie's out. You're done. You're done.
He's out.
He is done. Absolutely done. The Dallas Mavericks as an organization, they are going to be having one of the worst slumps I think in NBA history because going from a team who was a NBA Finals team last year to now a team who is probably not even going to make the playoffs this upcoming year because there are teams like the Golden State Warriors that are hot on their trails that are making a push. And speaking of the Golden State Warriors, Stephen Curry, my freaking goodness. 56 points the other night on Thursday last week. Insane. In freaking insane. The number Stephen Curry put up on Thursday. He could not miss from the three-point line. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How he was.
I mean, February 27th is a good day for Steph Curry.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And if you're Jimmy Butler, you're thanking your lucky stars because now he's on a team that's making a push for one of those for one of those couple of spots in the Western Conference. They're not in it yet, but if they want to get for sure punch their ticket in, they got to get at least the 6th seed. Because that's where the play-in tournament gets very interesting. Very interesting. Now, as far as the Mavericks are concerned, what are your thoughts on this team? Because to go from now, we gave our thoughts on the whole Luka trade and how that we thought it wasn't going to throw well for him, and it really hasn't. Because this injury to Kyrie, it makes this team even worse now.
Let's see. Trying to think of the best word possible. I got a word on the tip of my tongue. Oh, yeah. Train wreck. It's a train wreck. This Mavericks organization, they still don't have Anthony Davis, who has played literally 4 or 5 minutes in a game for them before he got hurt again.
Yep.
You trade away Luka Doncic, and now you lose your star point guard Kyrie Irving to a torn ACL for not only the rest of this season, but at least half of next season as well. Um. Oh, and not only that, but you let so many players walk away in free agency who have now made names for themselves with other organizations. For example, Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
You just let him walk. And now he's on the New York Knicks having a career of his life. So, I mean, I know Mark Cuban is a smart guy.
Now keep this in
He's
mind.
done a lot.
He did sell the team.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot he did sell it. But anyway, I mean, this Dallas Mavericks team, it just seems like a nightmare on Elm Street for them. Because now they quite honestly have nobody right now. So they are just going to struggle through the rest of this season, if you ask me.
Golden State right now is playing the Knicks right now at Madison Square Garden. 8-2 is the lead for Golden State. And if the season were to end right now, Golden State would be in the playoffs. They're the 6th seed. Also in the NBA, noteworthy, the Celtics and the Cavaliers ended up having a compelling game that was really, really good. And Cleveland pulled out the victory. 123-116 in the Garden. And then a couple of days later, I guess Boston was so pissed off and mad about it that they decided to beat the piss out of the Nuggets in the Garden.
Yeah.
So the NBA, oh wow, Curry just scored and won. And also in the NBA, another thing that really has me scratching my head is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant. And look, you know how I felt. Kevin knows how I felt when Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City and went to Golden State. I was very vocal about it. But I cannot lie and say that I respect Kevin Durant's greatness because Kevin Durant won 2 championships with the Golden State Warriors. He would have won a third if he didn't have the Achilles injury in 2019 against the Raptors. That's a fact because he was playing great in that game 5. But since he left Golden State, went to Brooklyn, that was a disaster. If you really analyze this, since he's left Golden State, he was with Brooklyn, and now he's been with Phoenix. He has been swept predominantly in the last 5 years. Pretty much, for the most part, he's been swept. And now Durant is talking about how he's miserable again in Phoenix. Dude, you had an opportunity to go back to Golden State and you turned them down. Oh, because you don't want to get the scrutiny again? Dude, this is 2025. This is not 2016. We're 9 years removed from you making the move. If you went back to the team again, I wouldn't blame you. Who the hell wouldn't want to win with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green? Because if Golden State makes a run to the NBA Finals, I'm not saying they will, because the competition in the West is very thick. But if they do, and Jimmy Butler wins the championship, Kevin Durant is going to be kicking himself.
Oh, yeah.
He had an opportunity in front of him to leave Phoenix, which they're not going anywhere. And mind you, Devin Booker has had his worst shooting percentage in years from the field. Kevin Durant has not made this team any better. This team has no depth. This team has nothing. Bradley Beal hasn't had a great year. He's had a better year than he did last year, but Devin Booker has been terrible this year. Kevin Durant is one man, one player. He cannot save this team. Phoenix is going nowhere. And if you're Durant, why are you, I don't get it. I don't get why are you staying put in Phoenix if you're miserable? You're just going through the motions, walking through the park. I guess nothing seems to penetrate your heart.
Yeah.
Buffy reference. Um, the fact that he he had everything offered to him to come back to the place where he won 2 championships, and not only he won 2 finals MVPs when Curry was on the team, when Klay Thompson was still on the team playing at a sharpshooter type level. Durant could have had it all again, and he threw it away. And I'm telling you, if Golden State goes on to win a championship, Durant will be sick. Now, what do you make of his? What do you make of this development? In the last week, because to me, it's interesting. He went from talking about how he didn't want to put all that on them and all this different stuff. Like, what are your thoughts?
Uh, you know, there's a term that I don't like to use when it comes to describing a certain athlete. And as much respect as I have, or as I have had for Kevin Durant, and probably still will for the time being because he is a Washington fan, might I add. But yeah, there is one term that I do not like to use, especially since WWE doesn't use this term anymore. Kevin Durant is a diva.
Pretty much.
He's a diva. He thinks he can be like LeBron and he snaps his fingers, boom, he gets what he wants. It can't be like that. It just can't. No matter how hard he tries. No matter how hard he tries, he just can't do it. And that's all there is to it.
It is very fascinating when you look at this because Durant, even when he was in Brooklyn with Kyrie, with James Harden, that team went nowhere really. They had a couple of years where they made a run, and then him getting swept by the Celtics basically ran him out of Brooklyn. Basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, back to the NFL. The NFL on Fox announced that the great Jimmy Johnson has announced his retirement. After so many years with Fox. What an
I
incredible.
believe it was 31 years, if
Let
I'm
me
not mistaken.
let's see. Let's see. Let's see. How funny is that? I read a headline. Jerry Jones congratulating Jimmy Johnson on his retirement. You will always be a winner. Yeah, unlike you. Uh, let's see. Yeah, I believe you are right. I think it is 31 years.
Yeah, that honestly just sounds right.
Let's see. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much been 31 years. But what an incredible run. What an incredible run he had with the team. Yep, it is 31. Yep. I just read it on people.com. Went from obviously the pregame to its full coverage. Just an incredible, incredible run. I always loved the way he covered the game. He didn't care who you were. He gave his honest opinion on the players, on the teams. He was one of the best to do it. Enjoy your retirement. Let's see. Oh, there was another move today that Ezra reported here in our chat as well. Offensive lineman Jonah Jackson coming to the Bears from the Rams for a sixth round pick. And
Interesting.
and this obviously is no surprise. Devontae Adams is out of the Jets. And now he will be on the move as a free agent. Now, there's an interesting question. You're Devontae Adams. If you get away from the diva of Aaron Rodgers and you go somewhere else, and as long as his head is screwed on, straight and focused, where do you think he goes back? Where do you think he goes next and plays? Does he go back to Green Bay or does he go somewhere else?
That's also a very interesting question because Devontae Adams, I've been hearing rumors that he wants a contract of around the $32 million a year range. Now, I get it. Devontae Adams has been a good receiver. And I get it that the cap space is going to go up this year, which is how Dallas was able to actually sign somebody for a change. But I just don't know if anybody would want to put that kind of money towards Devontae Adams. I just don't know if somebody would be willing to do that. I mean, there have been people linking him, or I wouldn't say people linking him, but as I mentioned before, I'm in a lot of Washington Commander fan pages, groups on Facebook, and I see about Devontae Adams being cut, and I see people saying, Adam Peters, make the call. We can use Devontae Adams. Heck yeah. Number 3, wide receiver. Come on, let's go get him. And I'm like, no, we don't need him, and we sure as hell don't want him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, Washington would be a good fit. I think if you are, I think if you're Green Bay, why not? You could use him again because him and Jordan Love can have a connection. I think now that Jordan Love is actually developed, into a quarterback and he is their quarterback, I think that maybe if he takes the pay cut, maybe Philadelphia could go after him. That'd be crazy if he does. Could you imagine that? The two-headed monster of wide receiver with Smith and Brown already on the outside, and then you can get Adams? That'd be crazy. Or maybe he goes to Miami, plays down with Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Or maybe he goes to Kansas City, because Kansas City, let's be honest, Kansas City's offense last year was not that great.
No.
It really wasn't great. It was very suspect. It really was not good.
No, it really wasn't.
So I think that is very interesting to me, is how when we look at the landscape of the offseason, we're just barely getting started. And we're already seeing some of these significant moves coming across the league.
Oh yeah.
And once we get to the league season beginning, it's going to get crazy. It's going to get crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
Speaking of crazy, switching gears to the world of professional wrestling.
Oh boy.
Now, to put this in perspective, we are not a wrestling show. But when something shocking of this magnitude happens that has the entire world talking, I mean, I'm talking not just the world of professional wrestling. I'm talking ESPN, I'm talking Fox, CBS, CNN, everywhere in between. You're probably wondering yourself, what is she talking about? Oh, yeah. John Cena. The most, probably, in my opinion, the most shocking heel turn in the history of wrestling. More shocking than Hulk Hogan, more shocking than Stone Cold Steve Austin, more shocking than Larry Zbyszko turning on Bruno Sammartino. Because Cena for years has been the good guy. For 20 years, he has been the guy. He has not changed. Yeah, he was a heel for a year and a half, doing the rapping gimmick predominantly. At first, he was a heel, didn't really have nothing attached to him, and then he became a rapper, the rapping gimmick, basic thugonomics. He was a heel then. And then, after October 19th of 2003, which was No Mercy against Kurt Angle, he was a babyface from then on out. He was on top of the world in professional wrestling, give or take, for 20 years. Off and on. 20 years. Winning the WWE World title 16 times. He has done it all. He's even done movies. He made a rap album 20 years ago with his cousin, the Trademark, and Bumpy Knuckles. He has done it all. He's done Peacemaker. He's been in several movies, several television shows, countless commercials, and most importantly, a lot of Make-A-Wish foundations for those kids. What an incredible human being that John Cena is. To be the company guy, waving that flag of being the company guy for a long time. But even being the good company guy that Cena is, Cena always wanted to play the opposite side of the fence. And that's play not just good guy, but bad guy on this retrospective defense. Because never has John Cena hustle, loyalty, and respect. That kind of guy. The man of the troops, the man of the people, the man of the kids. He's never been a bad guy under this character. No rapping gimmick attached to it. Just one of the best men to lace up a pair of tights. Or in his case, jorts. Or in his case, sneakers. Or in his case, tough guy wristbands. John Cena for years would never turn. He tried, but Vince McMahon said no. And going around social media right after he turned heel at Elimination Chamber, Chris Van Vliet posted a clip on Twitter showing a clip where Cena was talking about how he was going to turn heel in 2012. Had the music ready, had everything greenlit, and then Vince said, no, we're not doing this. And Joey, that was kicking Cena, that he couldn't try something different. So before I continue, give me your thoughts on Cena going from being the top guy for over 20 years, being the company guy, and now wants to do something different.
You know, I'm going to start off by saying something that you had said the other night when we were talking on the phone Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
If Vince McMahon was still in charge, this Cena heel turn would have never happened. Because literally John Cena was literally Vince McMahon's golden goose for many years. And for Triple H to get on the press conference after the Elimination Chamber saying Cena has been around long enough to where he can pretty much do what he wants at any time. I mean, that just lets you know that these superstars have a whole lot more creative freedom under Triple H regime than they did under the Vince McMahon regime. Now, as far as the heel turn itself goes, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was ecstatic when I saw that John Cena won the chamber. I was absolutely ecstatic. But for the decision to come immediately after, it made me wonder how they were going to do it. Because when Cody looked at The Rock dead in his eye and said, "Go F yourself," I mean, John Cena was in the background the entire time, just jumping up and down, celebrating, giving props to Cody and everything like that. And then when they went in for the handshake and the hug, I saw that look on Cena's face, but I didn't think nothing of it at first. But then John Cena went low. He went low on Cody Rhodes, and he, along with The Rock and rapper Travis Scott, absolutely laid out Cody Rhodes. Now, I get it. John Cena has been a fan favorite for several years. I mean, this is his first time being a heel since 2003. That is 21 to 22 years of him being a babyface. And I get it, that is a very, very long time. But believe it or not, there's actually somebody who has been a babyface even longer throughout his career. Oh, and he's actually still wrestling in WWE today. And he has never, and I mean never, been a heel. and that of course is Rey. And that of course is Rey Mysterio. He has never been a heel, not once in his WWE career. So I give him major props for that. But going back to Cena, yeah, this still blindsides me to this day because as soon as I saw that low blow, my jaw literally almost hit the floor because I was in such shock. Now, I remember telling you the other night that heels aren't really my favorite type of people, but there was just something about how perfect the story was told for this whole heel turn for John Cena that I just cannot get mad about it. I mean, I'm still going to be a John Cena fan, and I hope he wins his 17th world title at WrestleMania. I hope he does. But it's just the story was so perfectly told that I am personally giving major props to any and to everybody that was involved in putting this story together. It is just an unbelievable sight. And fans may say, oh, well, John Cena sucks. He made my kid cry, or he made so and so cry. He turned his back on all the fans. And I'm like, yeah, he may have. But John Cena has also been in the business long enough to know that sometimes, in order to get what you want, you have to take risks. And all of John Cena's 16 world championships that he's won have, yes, come when he was a babyface. But sometimes, in order to fully achieve greatness, you have to have great booking as a face and great booking as a heel. I mean, why do you think wrestlers such as Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Charlotte Flair,
Mhm.
why do you think those wrestlers have been successful? Because they have had great bookings as faces and as heels. And John Cena is just one of those people to finally add his name to that list. Because whenever he came up to the main roster in 2002, throughout most of 2003, Cena was considered a heel. But nothing really came of it, except for maybe a few rap battles here and there. Because keep in mind, John Cena didn't win his first championship in WWE until WrestleMania 20, when he pinned the Big Show to win the U.S. title
Mhm.
back in 2004. And he didn't win his first world title until literally the following WrestleMania when he pinned JBL. So that first heel run by Cena can be seen as forgettable, even though it did give birth to the Doctor of Thugonomics character. So it's really gonna interest me to see how they move forward with this. Because John Cena, yes, he may be in Africa shooting a movie right now, but Cena has, as of right now, he has been advertised for the Monday Night Raw tapings for March 17th, March 24th, and March 31st.
Mhm.
So it just makes me wonder how far they're going to advance this storyline. Where it goes, nobody knows.
The thing that really amazed me about Saturday night is how Triple H and the ones that were involved, obviously Cody, Cena, Rock, they all knew. Hardly anybody there and behind the scenes knew that it was happening. To keep a secret that so locked up, to keep it tightly closed, I should say. To do that takes a lot of guts and a lot of resolve to do that, because in today's day and age of social media, it's hard to keep things tightly closed. And like others have pointed out, if you paid attention to Cena's press conferences, you could kind of see the little cookie crumbles, of him possibly turning, but you didn't believe it. Like, to anybody that says they fully saw this coming, you're lying. Like, if you want to say maybe they could have done it, okay, maybe. I can buy that argument. But to outright say, yeah, I knew it was happening, you're full of shit. I'm sorry, but you're full of shit. The fact that John Cena has the guts to take an ultimate risk to change on his, let's just call it his last major run with the company. He's made all the money in the world, granted all the kids' wishes, doing all the right good things for the company, which is amazing. But Cena has been wanting to do this for a very long time. And now that Vince McMahon is no longer there in the WWE, now Cena can do something he's been wanting to do for a very long time. And a heel Cena on the microphone, I am all here for it. And yeah, you could have done Cody versus Cena, good guy versus good guy, but that would have been the same old story, same old song and dance. Because we've seen that happen countless times, and it splits the crowd. It splits them down. And having Cena go the dark side and Cody still be babyface. And by the way, this whole thing, when they set it up last week, I said it from the get-go. I loved it. I loved how Rock was like, Cody, I want you. I need you. Please give me your soul. I will give you everything that you've ever wanted in your whole life. Anything for you, your wife, your kids. To the point where he even bribed him gifts, the American Nightmare truck, the watch, you name it, the belt with his father's, date of his death, on there as a tribute to his father and all of that. And then to fast forward to last night, this past Saturday night, Rock comes out. First of all, how they segued from the men's chamber match, which I thought the last three, Rollins, Cena, and Punk, that was the right three to be in that spot, and the final three made total sense. And the last three men in that match, the rest of that match, flawless. Other parts of the match were still good too, but it got greater when it was just Rollins, Punk, and Cena. And then Cena wins the match, and then they transition right into Cody coming out. And then Rock comes out. Rock does the whole thing, give me your soul, da-da-da-da-da. If you don't do it, the dream dies. Then he pauses again. Then tonight, the dream dies again. That right there, the emphasis on the words, the pausing, the cadence, everything meant something. And Cody Rhodes saying, I want it all, Rock. My soul no longer belongs to me. You want to know why? Because I've given my soul to this ring and to these people a long time ago, and then the ultimate bomb. Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself. Major pop by the Toronto crowd. And when Triple H said that he was taking full control of the production of that, I think what he meant by that is if the production staff would have known about Cena's heel turn, then the F bomb would have been censored and Michael Cole's commentary would have been censored when he said the word shit would have been censored. So the fact that not only that, but what's also very cool is how this happened on the weekend of the Oscars. Because Cena gave an Oscar level performance on Saturday night after the chamber was over. Going from, yay, yay, he told The Rock go F himself, da 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 da, yay, yay, yay. And then, boom, switches into heel mode, kicks him in the nuts, and then proceeds to whip his ass. It was perfect. It was cinematic at its finest. And I hate using that term because it seems like it's cliche at this point. It's like a broken record, but it's a fact. WWE right now, since Triple H has taken over the controls of the WWE machine, have been taking more chances than they ever had in the last 25 years. Because not only did Cena turn heel, but Io Sky beat Rhea Ripley last night on Raw to face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania for the Women's World Championship. And then, what also made this Cena turn great is not to mention, and I know you saw this, Joey, the press conference. That one clip where Cena does a literal mic drop, doesn't say nothing, just boom, drops the mic, done, walks out, perfect. Perfect. Literal perfection. To think that now we are at where we are on the road to WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, I'm all here for it. The fact that now we have a complete change in the story with John Cena going full heel, because what this is going to do, this is going to make Cody Rhodes an even bigger babyface. Because the fact that Cena had just the guts to do this. He easily could have gone out there and played the greatest hits and said, I'm coming to your city. Final time you possibly are going to see me perform in the ring. He could have done that the entire year. But instead, he wants to challenge himself. Because after all, John Cena is a performer. He is a professional at what he does. I am all in. I am all excited for the ride that we are fixing to embark on. Because also last night, the video package that they showed of the kids crying when Cena turned. Goosebumps. Goosebumps. And then the one clip they showed of that kid where he's like, what are you doing? No, what are you doing? Gold. Gold. Unbelievable how John Cena has flipped the entire professional wrestling landscape on its ass. I am so excited. I have been a fan of professional wrestling for nearly 30 years. For those that don't know, the match that got me into pro wrestling was Steve Austin and Bret the Hitman Hart in Chicago at the Rosemont, WrestleMania 13, the submission match. That made me a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. And since then, I followed WCW, ECW, TNA, so on and so forth, AEW, so on and so forth. The fact that now we have a heel turn for the ages, and I will go on record and say it on March the 4th, 2025, that in my opinion, John Cena's heel turn is more impactful and more groundbreaking than Hulk Hogan joining the NWO. More impactful than Stone Cold Steve Austin selling his soul to Vince McMahon in 2001. Now, did these heel turns have their impact for a time? Yes. But the reason why the Hogan heel turn to me doesn't hold up now, because for those that were watching back then, Hogan was already getting booed out the building. He was already getting booed out the building by WCW fans and wrestling fans around the world because they were tired of the same old shtick. They were tired of all the ripping off the shirt, showing off the 24-inch pythons, brother, all this different stuff. Steve Austin, it was groundbreaking for its time because nobody would have thought that Stone Cold would join forces with Vince McMahon to form an alliance in 2001. The only reason why it wasn't as successful is because nobody in their right mind wanted to boo Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think this heel turn by John Cena is going to be the most impactful heel turn in professional wrestling because of the fact that none of us had this on our bingo card. None of us had this on our bingo card. And from the top to the bottom of the Chamber event, I thought it was a great show. I thought every match served its purpose. The women's Chamber match was great. Hell, even the tag match with Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus and Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, I thought that was pretty solid. The Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn unsanctioned match was great. The men's Chamber match was great. The way it was paced. And then Cena's heel turn. My freaking God. I remember all of us that were on Zoom watching this live, our jaws hit the floor. We were stunned when this happened. I text one of my friends, Ashley, who is a massive John Cena fan. She is. I met Ashley and along with members of the Nation's Corner crew during the pandemic 5 years ago. Hard to believe, but her and I have been her and I, along with other members of our group, have been friends for 5 years. We've been longtime wrestling fans all these years, all of our fandoms combined. None of us saw this coming. None of us. I texted Ashley, "Holy fucking shit." And she texted me back and she said, "What an ending." You're damn right. What an ending it was. What a unbelievable swerve. And all of us that were watching this on Zoom, some of us had no words. Some of us were like, our first words were, "What? No way. You got to be kidding me." Like, it was jaw-dropping that this even happened. It is amazing the ride we are fixing to be on as wrestling fans. Other wrestling companies are playing checkers, and WWE is playing chess. Again, other companies playing checkers, WWE playing chess. Tell me when I'm telling lies, like CM Punk would say. And oh yeah, not to mention, but CM Punk last night came out on Raw hot, pissed off, and mad about it. It was throwing live rounds on The Rock and John Cena. It was great. Throwing live rounds on on Seth Rollins. CM Punk came out there, was mad. And Rollins came out there and they started beating the crap out of each other. And they're going to settle the score next week at Madison Square Garden in a steel cage match. It is just very fascinating to know the ride that we are fixing to be on in the world of professional wrestling. The fact that John Cena had the guts, the instinct, as Mick Foley would say, the testicular fortitude to turn heel, to align with the darkness, to join forces with the final boss, The Rock, also a TKO executive of the board of directors. Because like Joey said, like I've said, like all of us have said, none of this would have happened if Vince McMahon was still in charge. Because Vince, for years, got comfortable in how he ran shows. He did it his own way. Since Triple H has taken over the creative controls, it has obviously been more of a collaborative effort by all the guys and gals. To think that this even happened, it is just mind-blowing. I mean, I was listening to Busted Open yesterday, and Bully Ray and Mark Henry were talking about how they've been in the business for, Bully's been in there for 30 plus years. Mark's been in there for almost 30 years. And none of them saw this coming. Look, Dave LaGreca, the host of Busted Open, the creator of Busted Open, his reaction was, he was stunned. The entire, not just wrestling world, but the sports world. ESPN had a recap of this on their channel right after it happened. CNN recapping about this. Fox, CBS, you freaking name it. The entire world is talking about John Cena for the first time under this magnitude of being a mega star has turned bad guy. Whatever happens is going to happen. I don't care. Let them cook. Let them cook. I am all here for it. That is why nights like tonight, we had to talk about this. We had to talk about the world of professional wrestling because this was such a big story that not just transcended the wrestling world, but it's gone global into the entire universe to where everybody is talking about it. And even if you're not a wrestling fan, you know what's happening because you've seen the reports, you've seen the reactions on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. It's everywhere. And I'm pretty sure the Nation's Corner is going to be talking about this Saturday night on their show this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. You can follow them at youtube.com/The Nation's Corner, Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook at Nation's Corner, and Instagram at Nation's Corner. What an unbelievable time it is to be a fan of wrestling because this storyline with John Cena joining forces with The Rock, this could go anywhere. Anywhere. And also, Rock with the slashing of the cutthroat, the watch to Cody last year. First the watch, then the slashing of the throat at Bad Blood when it was Cody and Roman versus the Bloodline in Atlanta at Bad Blood. Now that all makes sense because the throat slash happened again and Cena proceeds to low blow him and then hits him with the Rolex. And Michael Cole's commentary was spectacular. I loved how Michael Cole had a natural reaction because if he didn't know about this, he sure as hell had a natural reaction to Cena going bad guy. And I loved when he said, you're gonna go out like this, John, on your last run, basically. All the kids that all the kids that have looked up to you all over the world, you're gonna stick to shit like this. You gotta be kidding me. It was masterful. It was spot on. The commentary, not just by Michael Cole, but the commentary by Pat McAfee, the commentary by Wade Barrett was flawless. Not a single crack in the armor during that segment. WWE, like I said, is playing chess, and the rest of the professional wrestling landscape is playing checkers. Because, oh, by the way, not only does WWE have a partnership with TNA, but now they have a partnership with the NWA. Professional wrestling is awesome, once again. To say the terminology of professional wrestling is awesome into itself now. They're treating it now more like a sport, WWE is. Because Vince McMahon, as we all know, hated the term professional wrestling. He always treated the company as sports entertainment. Triple H is a wrestler. He is a wrestling fan. He has a passion. He eats, sleeps, and breathes the business of professional wrestling. Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, he eats, sleeps, and breathes professional wrestling. It's in his blood. The people who are in this company, behind the scenes and in between, love this business. I've been a fan, like I said, for nearly 30 years, and I could not be any more excited than I am now as a fan. Because, like last year with the Cody Rhodes saga on was he going to pick Roman, was he not going to pick Roman? I'm not going to lie. For those that don't know, I bit the bullet. I was like, what the hell are you doing, Cody? No. You can't, you got to do this at Mania. I bit the bullet. He got me. He swerved me. And then eventually he announced his opponent was Roman at Mania 40 last year in Philadelphia. And then to have the ride that we have had now, it's insane. I mean, CM Punk right now is having the ride of a lifetime in WWE. His feud with McIntyre was outstanding. The stuff he's done with Rollins so far has been outstanding. Him now going after The Rock and Cena as bad guys. Sign me up! The chaos! We don't know what's going to happen. But that's a great thing. Because Triple H said at the press conference on Saturday night in Toronto, we don't even know the final details of the card. We don't know what the main event's going to be. If you want the main event slot, don't hope that they'll give me the main event slot. Take it. Go out there and take it. You want it? Take it. It's simple as that. Simple as that. Again, folks, we are
honestly cannot.
Oh, go ahead.
I honestly cannot say that any better myself. I mean, for John Cena to embark on this heel run in literally his final year competing for WWE, it makes me so excited to see how they are going to keep progressing with this storyline. And as far as I'm concerned, it hasn't happened under the Vince McMahon regime, and it obviously sure as hell isn't happening here under the Triple H regime. But going back to last night, that opening segment on Raw with CM Punk calling out The Rock and John Cena, both calling them bald frauds, and then having that massive brawl with Seth freaking Rollins to open the show. Oh my gosh, I was on cloud 9.
And not just that, dude, but the fact that Punk was dropping literal bombs. He said,
oh, he was definitely dropping literal bombs. I mean, he literally looked at the camera when he was talking about his little brother, Seth freaking Rollins, saying, Becky, you might want to come get your man. I was like,
When he
holy
said, when he was drop, when you know, he's dropping bombs when he says bullshit, not once, but twice
yeah.
in the same promo. I mean,
And I
how
mean, CM Punk, he didn't even have to say anything else other than Becky's name. Seth Rollins' music hits, and then he runs full speed up to that entrance ramp and takes out Rollins.
the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, just in the literal time. Unlike LeBron, he actually does show up on time and actually gives credible thoughts and analysis. What's up, Ezra?
Credible,
What's up, Ez?
credible thoughts. You're going to the wrong person for that.
But we were just talking about
You want
this.
credible thought? You want credible thoughts? You go to somebody like Sam Roberts. Don't come to me.
Yeah, but we were just talking about this heel turn, man. I mean, like, just my goodness gracious. I mean, it was shocking. I mean, I've done enough blabbing. Joey's done enough blabbing. What were your thoughts? I mean, because I know it's been since Saturday, but obviously it's still in your head.
Absolutely, I think it's, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the greatest, heel turn in professional wrestling history. It's right up there with Hogan Bash at the Beach, just based on the shock value and the overall landscape, especially at this time when Cena has been a babyface for 22 years. The last time he was a babyface was literally less than 22 years ago at No Mercy against Kurt Angle in 2003. And with that being said, I mean, it blew me away. Like, I couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it in our Zoom room. We were all shocked, screaming and yelling. Tony with his hands up on our buddy Tony Justice with his hands up on his head, just in disbelief. Man, it was a moment in time. And then you come to the next night on Raw, you have CM Punk just fucking eviscerate The Rock and John Cena,
It was so good.
verbally eviscerate them, and then goes after his little brother, Seth freaking Rollins, destroys him, and then they brawl for nearly 10 minutes. Dude, you can not only that, you had that moment, you had Io Sky winning the Raw Women's title, or not the Raw Women's title, but the WWE Women's World title. And to add that to that, I thought the last 3 days have been amazing. Just in pro wrestling alone, with Elimination Chamber, with everything that went down with that, the whole Cena heel turn. And then last night, and then tonight we got NXT. We got the Hardys in attendance, who are going to be on the show, because next week is the Madison Square Garden show Roadblock, where they're defending the TNA tag belts against Fraxium. And also we get Moose versus Oba Femi as well next week. So a lot of craziness going on in the world of pro wrestling. But back to, Elimination Chamber real quick. The one thing I am glad, and I know this was a talking point I busted open this morning with Dave and Bully. I agree with Bully on the fact that they should never have John Cena and The Rock show up on Monday Night Raw to explain themselves on why Cena did what
That
he
was
did.
perfect.
Because
Perfect.
you got to let the moment breathe. You got to let it percolate. Let the intrigue build on why Cena did what he did. Was it a personal issue against Cody Rhodes? Was it because he was feeling desperate? He knows that his time is ticking, and that if he doesn't get that title at WrestleMania, it may be lost at this point. So there's a lot of available looks and options, and by letting the story breathe. Mind you, we're getting Cody on Friday anyway, so it don't matter. Cody's going to be on SmackDown this Friday to give his thoughts on what happened. So for me, I'm glad they did what they did. Plus, it would, like Bully said, it would overshadow the two big moments of the night, which was Io's surprise win over Rhea to win the women's title shortly before Mania, and Punk on his diatribe. If you were to have Rock and Cena on there, those two moments would be forgettable. And that's not by the talent, that's just because of the star power of both John and Dwayne. So, but overall, one hell of a weekend. Heel turn was nuts. Nobody expected it. I mean, you had First Take talking about it. You had Pat McAfee and his show discussing it with Boston Connor and Ty Schmidt. You had and AJ Hawk. It's been everywhere, and that just proves, without a shadow of a doubt, when WWE does something right, it makes headlines for the best of purposes. And what it did after Elimination Chamber, it made headlines all around the world, especially in the sports world where WWE sometimes gets a bad look because it's choreographed entertainment. But you got ESPN reporting it, like I said, First Take covering it first thing in the morning, Pat McAfee talking about it.
CNN, Fox, CBS.
Yep, everybody covering it. You got also the reactions from the Twitch streamers that get a lot of playback from people like Conman and Wheezy Blonde and Santi Zap and Attitude Era Mike. And shout out to those people, great Twitch streamers and seemingly good people, especially Wheezy, who I met. Very nice girl, very talented in what she does. But yeah, so that's pretty much my thoughts. Real quick before we move on, I want to do a little plug real quick, Steven.
Sure, go ahead.
Reminder to anybody who's going to be in the Chicago area the weekend before WrestleMania. Too Sweet Cosplay will be there that weekend. We don't know exactly what the full plans for the weekend are, but we know that on Sunday, April 13th, from 3 to 3:45 p.m., we will be doing a wrestling discussion panel where, of course, we'll be talking about what's going to happen the weekend after, and that's WrestleMania 40. So if you're in the Chicago area, please go to c2e2.com. It's at McCormick Place off of Cermak Road. It's not that far from. It's right on the edge of the city. 3-day passes are sold out or close to selling out. VIP passes are sold out, and single day tickets will be available shortly, if not now. So go to c2e2.com, check for listings, and of course check for any hotels and parking near you too as well. So definitely want to give our crew a plug and see it. But yeah, I figured you guys still had a little bit of show left. I figured I'd jump on. You guys were talking about Elimination Chamber. You know what? And Steven, real quick, allow me to give you a couple thoughts on the big sports news.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
First off, I want to say congratulations to Jimmy Johnson on his retirement. Was there the first day Fox NFL Sunday was launched. Absolutely a legend in the world of sports, including, of course, football, but in broadcasting as well. And Jimmy definitely will be missed from that team. But I know that Rob Gronkowski's there, and he's been doing one hell of a job. And it'll be hard to replace Jimmy, but he's going to go off, enjoy himself, do some fishing, enjoy his family time. And you know what? All the best to him and good luck. The other thing, of course, Devontae Adams getting released by the Jets. That wasn't a shock to me, obviously, because we knew as soon as Rodgers was told by the Jets that they were not going to that they were going to move forward from him. We knew that other domino was going to fall and that Devontae would be gone because he was Rodgers' pick. He was Rodgers' guy. And once he went, Devontae was sure to go. And we kind of saw the writing on the wall on that. Jonah Jackson coming to the Bears. I think this is a smart move by the Bears to get a veteran offensive lineman who's had Super Bowl experience. To get a guy who's been in the trenches for years and deep and knows playbooks and knows how to defend a quarterback. I'm excited to have him there. That's one of the pieces we need to address in the offseason. I think we're doing pretty well. Obviously, we're going to address that more in the draft coming up. I mean, we only gave away a 6th-round pick in this year's draft for him. So, I mean, it's not that big of a loss. So, I'm excited to have Jonah Jackson on the team, and I think he's going to help maybe lead this new offensive line and maybe offer more protection to Caleb Williams this upcoming season. I think what are some of the other major ones real quick, because I know we're running low on time. We only got 15 minutes left before we hit the
Barkley signed that 2-year deal with the Eagles, $41.2 million guaranteed, or $41.2 million deal, $36 million guaranteed.
That's a no-brainer, and you know what? He deserves it. He had a record-breaking season. He had one hell of an postseason. Yes, he didn't do that well in the Super Bowl because they shut him down. They shut down the run game, except for Jalen. But look, I mean, the dude made history. The dude deserves the money. He was in the running for MVP this past year. That alone deserves that contract. So definitely big move for the Eagles to keep him, but also even bigger for him. He gets a pretty much his entire salary is guaranteed, just about. So congrats to Saquon.
Stafford re-signed with the Rams. We don't know. We really don't know the full details of the deal yet.
No, and that'll come in the coming weeks. Obviously, we're still a few days away from free agency really becoming official where people can sign pen to paper. But once we get rolling on that, I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna.
Wow, real quick. Kevin just posted here in the chat that he thinks that everybody pretty much on that Niners team, and I forgot about this when me and Joey were talking about the um Debo trade to Washington. That also Brandon Ayuk could also be on the block.
Oh, he could be on the move.
Yes. Also Nick Bosa and pretty much everybody with the exception of Fred Warner and George Kittle. Yeah, they're pretty much staying put, but I think the entire team is probably going to blow up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this team's gonna have to it's gonna be rebuilding seasons coming up for the Niners, especially. Um, it sucks it's going down the way it is, but financially they got to make the right moves and they got to get some younger, fresh blood in there to kind of help stabilize that offense and the defense. It's everybody thinks that everybody can play forever, and that's not the case. You start to see decline, whether it's 3 years into the season or 15 years into the season. You start to see decline, and you have to make those tough choices. Obviously, losing Nick Bosa is a big, heavy blow. Losing Brandon Ayuk would be a big, heavy blow, but it all comes down to ability and, of course, money. It's all about clearing making enough money so you don't hit that luxury tax and being under that salary cap. So I'm going to be interested in watching, seeing what the Niners do as when free agency officially kicks off and everybody's able to put pen to paper.
Absolutely.
What you got, Joey? I see you're unmuted, my man.
Especially with the fact that the 49ers are actually shopping Christian McCaffrey around.
Whoa! I missed that in Kevin's. Whoa!
Yeah. He said Brennan Ayuk, CMC, Nick Bosa, and Jordan Mason all being shopped and examined by the front office. And saying Purdy's not expected to get a deal done and play on his last year and possible franchise tag next season.
That is nuts. The guy who got paid, Christian McCaffrey, who got paid, and now they're looking to shop him? Wow.
I don't know what this offense thinks they're doing, or this office thinks they're doing, but hey, more power to them, whatever they decide to do. I'm glad it's not the Bears right now.
But think about this, guys. If they lose the bulk of their roster, they're pretty much going down to the bottom of the basement.
Oh yeah.
They're done if they shop a lot of these players. Man.
Okay.
Man, that is developing.
I got an idea.
Thing.
Oh, sorry,
Joe. The only player that the Washington Commanders are shopping right now is Jonathan Allen.
Yeah. So I got an idea for us. Obviously our shows outside of tonight, which is obviously next couple weeks is going to pick up, like I said, with the start of free agency and obviously UFL going to be going on and a few other things, of course, the draft. But for one of our shows, I want to do something I'll bring you this idea, Steven, right now.
Sure.
Right for our audience to hear. Here's what I want. Imagine this. If WWE superstars or wrestling stars in general from all around, it could be independents, WWE, AEW, TNA. If you could build your starting five, a quarterback, three wide receivers, and two wide receivers, a running back, and a tight end. Out of any wrestlers around the world, who would they be?
Man.
Now that's not a topic for now. I want to do it on the show in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
I'll give you guys some time to think about that. And you know what? To add a little wrinkle, I also want you to come up with a starting five on the defensive side.
Aha.
As well. So I want a starting five on defense and a starting five on offense. If you were to build a football team out of the wrestlers, and like I said, it could be from any promotion,
That's
it could be
crazy.
independent, it could be major companies, it could be from Japan, Australia, Germany, France, it don't matter. So think about this. So I'm thinking, let's do it in 2 weeks. So that would be, what is today, Stephen, the 4th?
Yes.
So that would be the March 18th edition of our show. We think about it, we give our picks.
That is actually a pretty cool idea. I like that.
It's just a fun little
I'm down
exercise.
for that.
It's a fun little exercise that combines our love for pro wrestling as well as our love for football. And I think our viewers will enjoy it, as well as I think it would be something a little bit different than just talking about the same old things over and over. We're going to go into the news of the day. We're going to get that done. But I would like to spend, maybe 30 to 40 minutes of the second hour, maybe from 8:15 to 9 or whatever, to talk about it. And we can get Hijacker on the show if we can, and we can discuss that. So how about that?
That actually is a pretty fun idea.
So all right,
because you got to think about it too. Like who, at like what height they are, what position they would play, and stuff like that. Like if you're 5'10", 5'11", you could be a receiver, you could be a cornerback, a safety, whatever.
So by the way, also too, those picks also too. I want to say, being in Chicago right now sucks because I can't watch NXT because it's being preemptive for the freaking president's address to Congress.
Oh, okay. So is it being preempted by all major markets?
Just in certain markets who have WGN/the CW. I think it's Chicago, New York City, and LA. I had to go to a free streaming site just to find NXT for tonight myself.
Let me check on my end, because.
But we'll do that in a second, Steve. But
yeah.
But obviously we'll announce that now. March 18th, we'll be doing that. Pick your starting 5 WWE wrestlers for offense and defense if you were to put together a football team. So that's what we're gonna do on that day. So sports show listeners, if you have picks, come out with yours too. We'd love to hear from you guys. I'll let you, Steven, I'll let you shut down the show since you were the one to start it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. Now, I like that. March 18th, we do our own fantasy booking.
Yep. I like that too.
Of wrestling.
But it's very interesting that Ezra brought up something that he wants to do in the future, because I just happened to be thinking about this the other day. And I was like, you know what? There is something that we talked about during the NFL season that we have not done yet since football is over.
What's that?
Our top 5 picks for the NFL games of the year.
We could do that next week.
There you go.
All right, next week, top 5 NFL games of the year. It's set in stone.
Yeah, because I literally was just thinking about that, and I was like, you know what? Last week is the only show that I've missed since football went off the air, and we haven't done our top 5 NFL games of the year yet. So yeah, let's do that next week. I'm down.
I like that. Top 5 games of the 2024-25 season. I like that. I like it.
Yes, definitely. So, any final thoughts from any of you guys? Obviously, I mean, Steve is closing out the show, so he should be the one to ask.
I think pretty much I'm good for the rest of the night, because Like that just came across, man, our time frame with this Niners team, because the fact that San Francisco is looking to shop their entire team pretty much, it's crazy to think that, where they have been the last 5 to 6 years, a couple of championship games, couple of Super Bowl appearances, haven't won neither one of them, and now they're looking to blow up the entire team
Oh, but
because
by the way, marking out right now because there was a little brawl that just happened between Josh Briggs and the Umora guy and the other team, Tank and Tank, because
yep,
they were confronting the Hardys, and all of a sudden there was a brawl that broke out between them.
yep.
And Matt and them were facing the entrance, and he goes, "Braxium, I knew you'd come on." He was so broken for a minute,
Yep.
but as far as my final thoughts, I mean, really, if you think about it, I mean, it was great to come on with you guys for the last few minutes of the show. Great to come here, throw down some of the news, get a quick little kind of hit and go. And it was fun to be on here, of course, to come up with these ideas we have coming up. And
I like
you know,
that. Top
honestly,
5 games. I like that. Topic driven shows in the next couple of weeks. I like that.
yeah, it's a little nice switch up. So once again, as a reminder, before I hand it over to Joey for his final thoughts, next week, we're going to be doing not only, of course, our sports news and everything else that we do on our show, but also the top 5 NFL games of this past season. We're going to come up with a comprehensive list, each of us, and we will debut them on the show in the second hour. And then in the second hour of the show in 2 weeks, we will be doing a kind of like our version of an NFL draft, but with wrestling talent. If you could pick a starting 5 on offense and defense for a football team with with wrestlers from any company on the planet, who would they be and why? That'll be coming up. That'll be coming up once again, March 18th on our Nation Sports Show.
Looking forward to it.
Also, real quick, you can follow me at Deadman469 on Twitter. You can follow me same numbers at same username on Instagram as well. Please follow a Too Sweet Cosplay across all socials for all your cosplay and wrestling themed needs. We're getting ready for C2E2. Like I said, April 13th, 3:45 p.m. or 3 to 3:45 p.m. Room S401D. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. Room S401D upstairs on the 4th floor of McCormick Place in Chicago. Get your tickets to enjoy C2E2. They'll have everybody from John Boyega to Joe Hendry, Rikishi. They're going to have New Japan talent as Windy City Riot will be taking place at the neighboring venue Wintrust Arena the same weekend, including Zack Sabre Jr., Hiroshi Tanahashi, Gabe Kidd, also Willow Nightingale, the Outrunners will be and Danhausen will be representing AEW as well for that weekend. And like I
Nice.
said, John Boyega, the cast of Futurama, Lord of the Rings reunion, many other things going on. Cosplay, comic books, Artist Alley, whatever you want. C2E2.com for tickets. And quick reminder once again, VIP passes are sold out. 3-day passes are almost sold out, and single day tickets are available. Once again, C2E2.com for more information. And of course, Nation's Corner, our sister show, at 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays on youtube.com/Nation's Corner for all your pro wrestling discussions.
Because they're going to be talking about this Cena heel turn in full length on Saturday.
Absolutely. And that's it for me. Joey, go ahead and take it from here.
Once again, great show with you guys. I do want to bring something to our attention just really quick. I know we don't really talk any high school sports at all.
Oh yeah.
But mine and Steven's high school, Richmond Senior High, based out of Rockingham, they had both their men's and women's teams play tonight in the third round of the state championships.
Nice.
And I'm very happy to announce that the Lady Raiders beat New Hanover tonight, 48-44. But it is bitter heartbreak for the men as they saw their season come to an end by a score of 85-39.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, talk about an absolute blowout. But
Yeah.
but yeah, great show with you guys. It was great having Ezra join us for the last few minutes, and looking forward to our next two shows for sure. Top five NFL games next week, and then the week after, doing our WWE fantasy lineups. So yeah, that's going to be a very exciting show. Um, Not sure how crazy this weather was going to get here in the Carolinas as well as the rest of the South tomorrow, but if you're going to be out in this weather, please, 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 please stay safe
Yeah,
and peace
absolutely.
out.
Yep, no problem, Joey. Real quick too, I also want to say, if you're a fan of, cartoons and TV shows like I am today, was a kind of a hurt day today.
Hmm.
George Lowe, the legendary voice of Space Ghost, passed away today at the age of 67 years old. You know his voice as a legendary cartoon character from Space Ghost Coast to Coast back in the 90s on
Hmm.
Cartoon Network. He was a very nice guy from what I heard from a lot of the people I know who had met him at Comic Cons and stuff in the past. Uh, don't know the cause of his death, unfortunately, right now. I'm sure that update will come, but a huge loss in the voice acting world, as he was a voice that surely in my child, one of the voices of my childhood for sure, being a massive Space Ghost Coast to Coast fan growing up.
I also
So,
want to say, send our thoughts and condolences and prayers to the family and friends of Michelle Trachtenberg,
oh yeah,
who unfortunately passed away last week at the young age of 39 years old. I mean, just my goodness. I mean, Michelle, her biggest role in my life as a fan of her work was obviously her work with Buffy the Vampire Slayer as the character of Dawn, Buffy's sister. And I know Sarah, Michelle Gellar, and the rest of the cast and crew that have worked with her and all her other projects over the years that she's done are mourning the loss and paying tribute to her. And she was amazing at what she did and just crazy. She had a, I think it was a liver transplant, and then just I guess her body had a bad reaction to it, and unfortunately she passed.
yeah, it was complications because it rejected the liver. So, and that happens from time to time with organ transplants. It could be a few weeks, it could be a few years. But sometimes the body will reject the other organ, and then complications can arise, and it can lead to your demise. So, definitely heartbreaking to hear. I know her from first time I saw her was the cartoon movie, or not cartoon, but the kids movie Harriet the Spy with her and Rosie O'Donnell back in '98. That was her, I think, her first role, and I remember that very well. Also,
And
too.
also,
Oh, you were gonna. I think you and I are on the same wavelength.
you know
Gene.
where I'm going. Go ahead.
Okay, well, we want to send our condolences to the late great Gene Hackman and his wife as well. They both passed away the other day as well. Gene Hackman, one of the most legendary actors in the history of movies and television, an absolute icon. And it's still being figured out what went wrong, and still trying to figure out all the details. But
They say it's a possibility it could be a crime.
yeah, it could be foul play, but they're looking into it now. But we definitely want to send our condolences to the family and friends of the late great Gene Hackman and his wife. And one more, I hate going sad news at the end of the show because it's been such a great show for all of
But
all.
we forgot to mention those at the top of the hour. But you know,
Also, I want to mention too, Tammy Down's fiance fell over
I saw that, man. That
and
sucks.
is unfortunately presumed dead, as they could not locate her body. So, send our
Yeah.
bastard pussycat camp as well as Tammy, who is a guy who has got himself clean over the past 15 years or so, and now he's got to deal with this now added on to trying to keep those demons away. So definitely
And you know, anytime soon, he's not going to be playing anytime soon, and rightly so, because
no, we definitely want to send our best wishes to Tammy Down and the wife's family and the any members of the Pussycat who knew him, so knew her. So definitely on that. Uh,
yeah, when you got that's the one thing about these cruises, when you have alcohol included, all inclusive, yeah, that's not a good combination. I mean, we weren't there, but it, I hope that it was not on purpose, because that would really, really kill him, you know, because that's the one thing I'm concerned about with him is how's he going to deal with this? Because when you lose somebody like that, that you're close to, you know, and you have those history of demons, those demons are going to try to attack you, and he's got to, fight them off, and stuff, and it just sucks, and it sucks that this happened because this type of stuff happens with some cruises from time to time. I mean, you got to be aware of your surroundings when you're on these cruises because you don't want to go overboard. I mean, damn. Like I read that headline this morning on Blabbermouth, and I was going, "Wow, that sucks."
Yep, absolutely. Real quick update too, Steven. Next week at the MSG show, WWE Roadblock,
Yep.
all 4 of the LFG coaches will be in attendance.
Hey!
So Bully Ray, Undertaker, Mickey James, and of course, oh yeah, Booker T will be
And
in
right
attendance.
now, Jordan Grace is in the ring.
Yep, with Cora Jade, 1-on-1. So, all right, Steven, go ahead. You know the drill. Close it out for tonight. Everybody,
Yes,
thank you, and we will see you next week.
yes, I do. Great show with you guys tonight. Glad you could jump on here for the last 15 some odd minutes there, brother. And all of that good stuff. And we look forward for the next couple weeks with our shows taking place. A little bit of a topic driven shows to give it a little bit of a theme, if you will. And next week, again, for those that don't know, we're doing top 5 games of the NFL season from this past year. And then in 2 weeks, we're doing our fantasy booking of our professional wrestling team as far as draft on offense and defense. Very fitting since next month the NFL draft is next week. Or not next week, next month, I should say. At the end of April next month. So looking forward to that. You can follow us on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show. You can follow us on Facebook at Our Nation Sports Show. And also where we are live on most Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific at youtube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. You can also, like Ezra said, follow him on Twitter at Deadman469. On Instagram at Deadman469. You can also follow Joey on Twitter at Roll_Tide1992. And you can also follow Kevin Rory on Twitter at that9erGame10. And you can also follow our boy, Hijacker Mike, on Twitter at Mr. Mac on Twitter. You can also follow his cigar channel, Smoke in the Bay, THA Bay, on Twitter and also on YouTube. He has a great YouTube channel with that. And you can also follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook at Nation's Corner, where they are live on most Saturday nights, unless a pay-per-view like this past Saturday was preempting that. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific at youtube.com/The Nation's Corner, where the guys and gal will be talking about, quite possibly, the biggest heel turn in professional wrestling with, who is it? His name is John Cena! And all that and so much more as AEW Revolution is taking place this Sunday from Los Angeles at the Crypto.com Arena, highlighted by Adam Copeland versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title, and Hangman Adam Page versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, and so much more. Check out the guys and gals this weekend as they recap all things professional wrestling. RASSLIN, that's wrestling. Gone wrestling. And speaking of gone, we're out of here. And with that being said, for K-Rock, Kevin Rory, JT, Joey Thornton, Hijacker Mike, Ezra Vickery, Randy Gyron, William Gyron, and of course our favorite kitty cat, Sprocket, I've been your host for this evening, Stephen Wonder Wyand. Take care of yourselves. Be good to one another. Enjoy each other's company. Be good to everybody around you. Make memories that will last a lifetime. And of course, be good to your family and your friends and to a stranger that you see out in the public eye. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of the wrestling. Enjoy the rest of the NBA, the NHL, and whatever the hell you get into this week or this weekend. Have a great rest of your week and weekend. We'll be back here next week for another edition of Our Nation Sports Show. Same time, same YouTube channel. Oh, yeah. Peace.
Turn me up.